What's up, everybody? Welcome to part 6 of 10 for Cash Flow for Capsuleers, which is the military career agent for EVE Online. And we've got the mission up here, and it looks like we're going to get our first implant. Now, let's take a look. I think I have a number of things queued up here, and I don't think any of them are really going to benefit from, well, this one might. Alright, so this one currently is showing 3 days, 10 hours, and 47 minutes. And just to draw your attention to it, the primary attribute is perception. Why am I telling you this? What does it have to do with this mission? Nothing. But the augmentation or the implant that we're going to be picking up from this mission, if we look at it, gives us +1 to perception. Side note, when you're looking in an information window, there is a back and a forward button, and that functionality is built into it. So we were just looking at skill before this, but if we want to just go back, I can either hit the back button and it goes right there. I hit the forward button and it goes back. Or if you don't have a back or forward button on your mouse, or you can't be troubled to do that with your thumb, there is a previous and next button, which acts as the same thing. So a little tidbit of information that somebody might not know. So there you go. Anyway, so the point that I'm trying to make here is the primary attribute for this is perception. The implant we're going to pick up is going to add to our character's attributes. It'll add 1 to perception, and then we will see how it affects the skills here. But we'll get to that once we finish the mission. For now, let's read through it. It says we managed to track Wolf to a small pirate outpost in this system. It's time to finish this. Destroy the outpost. Okay. And hopefully Wolf will perish along with it. That's great. Go blow up this building, and maybe the guy that we are trying to kill will be in it. This sounds like really great strategic planning here. All right, destroy Wolf's outpost. You will find it in the final room of the complex. The complex is just the region of space that you get sent to for your mission. Sometimes there are multiple regions in a mission where you'll go in, you'll have an objective like clear out all the pirates, or fly to the gate, take the gate, and you'll go to the next section, and so on and so forth, until you get to the final complex, or however they refer to it in the mission text, and then you complete the final objective and you get the check mark. Some of these you can just go gate to gate to gate through the various subsections to reach the final area, kill the one guy, say in this case Wolf, and then get out of there, and your mission will complete regardless of the fact that you didn't kill anything else all along the way. But anyway, it's good to know. So destroy Wolf's outpost, which will almost definitely be one of those non-collidable objects that we've seen in some of our places. This also has, and I think the others probably have as well, but I haven't drawn attention to it yet. But this has it says the site contains normal ship restrictions. Now, notice how it's white and yellow text. I can click on the yellow text and it'll tell me which ships are permitted. And the list is a very long list with pretty much, like, I could take a battleship in here. Yeah. So not much of a restriction. You can't take a Titan, so we don't see any of those on here. But in general, you're going to be able to fly the ship that they gave you in the mission that they send you on. That said, sometimes you'll be given or offered a mission where you're only allowed to take frigates into it, right? And this may be a level 4 mission. There are a few missions like Anomic Base and Anomic Agent, which have strict restrictions like that. You can only take frigates or assault frigates and maybe 1 or 2 other class ships. And so when you're looking at the quest text over here, I believe that it will show red if you're currently in a ship that isn't allowed on that mission, so, or in that space. So it's good to pay attention to that. For the most part, you'll only be offered missions that that you're able to use your ship in, but on occasion something will come up and you just want to make sure before you accept it that you're able to fly the ship that you want to fly, or that you need to fly in order to succeed on that mission, or you could have yourself a hard time of it. So let's see, we'll just stack everything by a force of habit. We're going up against Serpentis, so it's a good thing we've got this thermal dissipation field. That's nice. And I think we'll just accept it and head on out and see what we go up against. Got a little water here. Stay hydrated while you fly around in space. very important. I've been rewatching The Expanse, and that will also drive home how vital air and water are when you're in space. You know, I like this space station. It's a pretty cool design. Now it just disappeared, but generally, when I'm running missions, I leave myself in this tactical camera, just because I don't know. It shows me the path that I'm on and the orbit I'm going to take, and all kinds of other information that I find useful to have readily available. So we flew to the first area. No ships here, but there is an acceleration gate. That's often how these missions go. Activate the gate.
Drive active.
To take the gate, we have to line up with it, much like warping someplace else. And while we're warping, I'll turn on my thermal dissipation field. Now again, we're looking for Wolf's Outpost. And look at this long list of couplings. Looks like the next acceleration gate is guarded. You'll have to take care of the guards before you get through. Got it. So there's a guy there. This guy's below. This guy's above, or gal. I don't know. Maybe these are women pilots. So she's here. Whoop. Oh, we're being... Okay. I'm going to hit that afterburner and get going pretty quick. Now, in general, I know we've talked about spiraling our way towards... I should probably get to targeting these things. We've talked about spiraling towards our targets. It's a nice habit to get into, but it's really only necessary on when you're in PvP for the most part. Maybe I'm just, you know, causing myself a lot of... Oh, shit. Holy crap. Okay, I'm going to focus here and kill some stuff. We'll go there and attack them, and I usually try to get rid of those that are closest to me first. Those are a little far away. See all this yellow here? They're all targeting me. We'll get closer to them. Where are they? So, see, now we can see that they're over here and how far away they are. If I want to target them here, I can do that. I'm still firing. I'm going to turn off my my afterburner just so that I can, you know, I'm going to be orbiting these guys pretty quickly already. You notice I haven't really taken any damage. I'm not too concerned. Only my own damage numbers are coming up here. I'll close on them pretty quickly. And in we go. Now I can only target four ships at any given point in time right now, both because of the ship I'm in and because of my skills. And that's okay for the most part, but I always like to have as many things targeted as possible just so that I can see. You know, sometimes they'll warp scramble me, sometimes they'll web me, and it's good to be able to know which ships are doing that. And if you hover over the little indicator that you're being webbed or whatever, that'll show you who it is, and then I usually prioritize those targets. So if I have everything targeted, or as many things targeted as possible, I don't have to wait the 10 to 20 seconds sometimes it takes in order to target it and then kill it. So that's like 20 to 30 seconds worth of me just being battered and abused. And if we can avoid that, that's all for the best. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to harvest all of these ships just because I'm in it for the money. Now I'm going to pause the recording just so you don't have to watch me fly around and salvage and loot and do all of these things. So give me just a second. I will take care of this, and then I'll hop back in and we'll take the next gate to the next area. So like we talked about, this is one of those situations where, see now, it's one of those situations where there are multiple areas of space that this mission is a part of. So I'll set my target on that, target that, and we'll make our way. I guess before I pause it, I am going to Like if you notice, I got this copper tag here, the Serpentis copper tag. When you kill pirates, invariably you will. No, went too far. Okay. I went too. The range on the salvager is only 5,000 meters, so I was a little worried that. I was a little worried that it would not allow it to complete, but that said, so you'll get when you go up against pirates. These are like dog tags. You can see the image as well as I can, and so you could have probably figured that out on your own. But what they're used for, previously we've talked about like where your standings are with different corporations, and the standings also apply to different factions. And there are opportunities, or there are agents throughout the game where you're gonna have to. I can Google this, I guess, for you and show you. But Googling this is a good way to do it. If you have a really low standing, either with a faction or a corporation, you might find yourself in a position where they attack you on sight. No matter how high your, in this case, your diplomacy skill is, you can only increase a bad standing so well or so far. And so if that's the case, then the game has, or CCP has put into the game methods for increasing your standing with these factions in a way that allows you to sort of recover from what seems like an unrecoverable act. So if your standing is below negative 2.0, you will... I don't think it's Concord. I guess I have to look this up. But if you're standing with any faction, say Galente or Caldari or whatever, is below negative 2.0, they will attack you on sight. And it's hard. You won't be able to take any missions from that faction. You won't be able to, which is really your main and only way to improve standing with that faction. So if you have a bad standing with Amar, for example, I guess you could go and kill Minmatar ships to increase your standing, but pretty quickly your standings kind of will drop, because as you kill ships, your standing drops much faster than your other standings increase. So it's just good to be aware of kind of what you're up against and making sure that you're making good decisions in how you manage your standing. So one of the many ways of doing that, and it's a single-use item. So not item, but there are missions that you can only complete once. And some of those missions require a specific combination of these dog tags. So some are worth more than others. I'm hovering over this, and I can see that this is worth 12, almost 13,000 ISK. So this obviously is not worth a ton, but some of them are worth millions of ISK each. And so my suggestion is to hold on to them unless you're really hard up for cash and you find one that's really worth selling, and then just figuring if you need it in the future you'll buy it. That's one way to go about it. But in the other, I usually just hold on to them, figuring that if I'm ever in a bad spot, I have these things that I can use, and I don't need to be too concerned about it. But that's the way I am with a lot of components. I try to sell the ones that are worth the most. The rest, I figure I'll either not repackage, but repurpose, what is it called? Break them down basically into minerals. And if your skills are high enough, you can make a decent amount of money on it. But what I inevitably end up doing is just sitting on them, figuring that, there'll be a time when I really need or want this, sensor dampener one crappy unit that's worth 2,000 ISK. And yeah. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm almost done here, so I might as well. I'll pause it, and then I'll pick up once I go to the next area. All right, so I'm done looting, and as you can see with everything that I've picked up here, I've picked up about 260,000 ISK worth of goods. This is the main moneymaker here. That's 176 by itself. It's a nice and easy way to pick up drones too. So the Tech 1 drones are really cheap. They don't sell for anything, but when you're starting out and you can't use Tech 2 drones, it's a free and easy way to pick them up. You just loot the stuff and they end up being there anyway. And we got a remote armor repairer, so I can repair the armor of other people, but not myself. With this anyway, I can do it with this. But and then I picked up a blaster, which is nice. So anyway, one of the many things that I picked up was some uranium charge, which is just a different ammo type from what I'm carrying, this antimatter. If you recall, antimatter is thermal and kinetic with an emphasis on kinetic, so 7 and 5, and uranium is 6 and 4. It's just less damage, but I would guess that it has a different range bonus, and yeah, it uses less capacitor. So we show here, see, just a 50% range bonus versus 25. So anyway, food for thought. If you wanted to use that ammo, if you just right click on your weapons, you can pick which ammunition to reload back into it. I'm deciding to just go with what ammo I had in there. We're going to use the accelerator, the acceleration gate. Ship computer is telling me now that it looks like I found the pirate outpost. The instructions are to destroy it. Recommend leaving the loot in the wreck after you obliterate the structure. You would not want to be caught trying to jump between systems with contraband in your cargo hold. A lot of these pirate stations and things will drop drugs, and it's frowned upon to have drugs. So, I'm going to orbit this. I've got it targeted, and then I'll start attacking it. But before I do, it's worth pointing out that I jumped on that acceleration gate without looking to see if Wolf's Outpost was in the previous area. There were a whole bunch of other, areas there, and that probably was not the best. As I hit warp, I was reminded that that was probably not the best way to go about it, but what are you going to do? All right, so you can see that that there are 2 sentries here, and that's what this little icon is. They are non-mobile, and they have a range, so if you are in real trouble, you can hit your afterburner and try to get the hell out of there as fast as possible. Starting to take a little bit of damage here. I'm not overly concerned, but I might as well hit this and orbit at a much faster rate, which will decrease my it'll decrease the amount of damage I'm taking, but it's also looking like it's decreasing the amount of damage I'm doing, which is unfortunate. But now I'm booking. That's good. Look at those guns. You can see them moving. Pew pew! I got a lot more guns visually on this boat than I do actually have guns. So, but you can see that my shields are actually regenerating, and I haven't taken almost any damage since hitting my afterburner. So the sentry, this defense cannon, is taking a much more of a beating than some of these other ships would. I'm going to orbit this other sentry just because it's not going anywhere, whereas the ship I was orbiting is perhaps going somewhere. So we're whittling our way through it. But yeah, so some of the missions that I've been in, they'll have like missile batteries as these sentries, and so they'll be placed everywhere. And once you get outside of their range, you can sort of pick them off with long-range artillery or longer-range missiles if you have them, or whatever you're working with that can hopefully outrange what is firing at you. Because they're stationary, there's nothing they can do about it. Some ships, like larger ships, are slower, so it'll be easier to outrun them. You're probably not going to be able to outrun a lot of frigates that you'll come up against. So, yeah, you just want to keep that in mind. Almost there. Almost there. Alright, now I'm going to take out these other ships just to get rid of the, since they'll die quicker. I find as a good strategy. Now, we already destroyed the outpost, and as you can see, we got the blue check mark, so we don't need to kill these. That's a pretty spectacular explosion. But, So we could have just left, but I'm trying to complete everything and kill everything. And there's another cargo container, which we may be able to loot. I would guess that it will have ammunition in it, probably for guns that I end up using. So, it's worth looting. Although these ships here, let's go to it. I'm going to try to do my salvaging while we finish up with this sentry. Turn that off. Not looting. Still firing. That's good. You notice how now that I've slowed down, I'm doing a lot more damage. 78. No, that 28's a little low. 82. 82, 88. And there's our tick. So all of that right there is from bounties. Got bounty prizes for killing pirates. So we've talked about that in the past, but that's a good example of that. So we are still trying to salvage this wreck. Now I'll pick these things up: water, antibiotics, frozen food. I don't think I've ever successfully really sold those in large quantities. You can sell them at a place like Jira, not Jira. Man, I had a phone interview before this, and I did a little talking about Jira, so it's on the mind. But if you go to Jita, you can do a little. You can sell those in bulk, but they're really not worth very much otherwise. So, and we'll just warp on back. There's nothing really to see or do here. There are some asteroid belts in the system, but none in this actual pocket of space. And I'm not going to be able to reload completely to 200 because I just don't have that much ammo sitting in my bay. Yeah, 107. So we used up the ammo, some of the ammo that we brought. I think that's it for cash flow for Capsuleers, 6 of 10.
Docking permission requested.
But before we finish this completely, I'll hand it in. We'll get the implant, and then I'll show you one of the big things that it's good to know about as we work on this. All right, so this thing at the very end, I don't think this is intelligence and memory. So weapon upgrades 4 currently is looking at 3 days, 10 hours, and 47 minutes. So I'll complete that. I'll get some money. I'll come over here, and there's my implant. I'll double click on it, and that doesn't install it. But I can plug it in. Boom. Plug in. There's no pulling these out. They just get destroyed once you can unplug them, but they get destroyed. So once you put one in, you just better be sure that you're good to go. Now, 3 days, 10 hours, and 47 minutes. By increasing our perception 1 point, we took off 2.5 hours on the training time for weapon upgrades 4. And some of these others, I can't imagine that any of these had perception as one of their stats. Yeah, I saw the little line move around, so I thought maybe, but yeah. So if you can afford, like that was a +1 attribute. The skill in order to use those, shoot, where is it? There it is, neural enhancement. So you need to have a point or some points in cybernetics, and then when you get into your, see how now we're at 21. You can have an implant for every one of those stats. And if you're willing to spend something like 1.3 or 1.2 billion ISK or more, you can have +5 to each stat on each, or +5. Man, my words are failing me. But you can get +5 implants, and they're very expensive. But when you die, if you get your pod blown up, you lose your implants. So there's something to be said for if you're going to be out of the game for a period of time, plugging in all of the highest implants you have and letting your character sit on that. To go back to the skills, this is a whole other video, but if you get into jump clones, which I think is infomorph, That's the time between. Yeah, there we go. So you want to get into infomorph psychology. You can have different clones with different sets of implants that you can jump back and forth between once every 24 hours. So if you're going to go do something dangerous or engage in PvP, you probably don't want to have a billion worth of ISK plugged into you. But if for other things where you think you're going to be safe, or if you're going to be away from the game for a while, then you can, hop into that clone with the expensive implants and then learn things much faster while you're away. So anyway, food for thought. Check out our new website, errantgamer.com. We got a podcast that's hopefully going to be going up every week, and we're very slowly going to be adding content and articles and reviews and things there. So check it out. Thanks for watching the video. This is part 6. If you have any questions about gameplay mechanics or about really pretty much anything, either with Eve or with any other game, I think I'm going to start branching out game-wise here pretty shortly. Feel free to ask in the comments, and we'll get into it together. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.